The Fair Work Commission has handed down a landmark ruling allowing a long-serving Westpac employee to work from home full-time, a decision that could reshape hybrid work policies right across corporate Australia. For years, she'd split her week between home and the office, but then the bank insisted she commute into headquarters at least 2 days a week. The Commission found there was no genuine business reason for that demand, especially given her proven track record working effectively from home. Working from home is already mainstream. ABS data shows 36% of employed Aussies worked from home in August last year, most of the time. Roy Morgan research estimates 6.7 million Australians, nearly half of the employed population, work remotely at least some of the time.
This ruling is a genuine turning point, which is why when Daily Mail Australia broke the story, so many other media outlets followed up on it.
Karlene Chandler is a long-service mortgage operations staffer who won the right to work from home full-time because the bank couldn't produce concrete, job-specific reasons to drag her into the office 2 days a week. That doesn't just tweak hybrid policies, it flips the burden of proof onto the employer. And that shift will ripple through corporate Australia, from boardrooms and HR playbooks to office leases and recruitment. It's a potential game changer. Meanwhile, the national CBD office vacancy rate sits at around 13%, underscoring a structural shift in demand for office space, a sure sign that working from home is on the rise. So how did this unfold? In January, Ms. Chandler lodged a formal flexible work request to keep working remotely so she could manage school drop-offs and pickups. Westpac knocked it back 2 months later, taking longer than they're required to make the decision. Ms. Chandler even offered a compromise, working 2 days a week at a branch near her home. Westpac, however, rejected it, requiring her to commute 2 hours each way to work in the head office instead. In Sydney, a typical public transport commute averages 62 minutes one way. Across capitals, it's common for people to spend anywhere from 36 to 62 minutes commuting. That lost time compounds caring conflicts and sits at the heart of the hybrid work debate. The Commission weighed up the facts of the Westpac case. A long-time, well-regarded employee, a punishing commute, and caring responsibilities all outweighed the bank's argument that culturally, her presence was required.
Legally, this judgment lands on top of Labor's secure jobs, better pay changes that strengthen the right to workplace flexibility.
Employers must generally consult, respond on time, and refuse flexibility only on reasonable business grounds. Westpac failed these tests. The Fair Work decision therefore operationalises the new rules. If you can't demonstrate an actual problem with working from home, such as affecting productivity, confidentiality, equipment usage, or perhaps poor client servicing, employers can't just demand people work in offices anymore. That's a powerful message to any old-school managers still romanticising corridor chats or claiming office work is more productive. The Productivity Commission found working from home was not responsible for Australia's post-pandemic productivity slump, saying that hybrid work was, quote, not detrimental to productivity. The Westpac decision, rightly or wrongly, strengthens the negotiating position of anyone with recognised caring responsibilities, which is the whole point of Labor's new flexibility provisions. Around 3 million Australians, that's 12% of the population, are informal carers. Expect more employees to challenge blanket mandates and more employers to rethink one-size-fits-all policies before they stumble into the same trap that Westpac did. For bosses and boards, the consequences are bigger than one case. Return to office edicts will need a risk-based framework now. An important fact for the case was that the employee had not previously worked from home full-time. But that didn't matter. The fact she successfully did so part-time was enough for the Commission to side with her as a full-time employee too. Expect unions to use this ruling to reopen refusals across the industry. That might mean a wave of new cases, but also a shift in corporate bargaining going forward. Workers will expect to be given good reasons why they have to come into the office rather than work from home, and unions will back them up. If employers don't adapt or find a way to influence the political debate to change the laws, they'll end up spending more time and money losing arbitrations than earning profits.
This decision says to corporate Australia that if a job's being done well from home, the business that's paying the employee has no right to demand that they return to work.
And the Westpac ruling lands right as the Fair Work Commission is building a standard work from home clause for the Clerks Private Sector Award. Once a clause is settled on for clerical roles, the spine of white-collar admin, other awards will likely take the hint and follow suit. That's a moment in time that might see pandemic improvisation turn into an enforceable rulebook for new work from home rights. What could that cover? Well, perhaps equipment cost sharing, even rental claims for home office space. And by saving on commute times, employers might seek people working longer hours from home, or shorter hours for those who do come into the office with a commute. Reversing the burden of proof, such that employers need to prove why employees need to be in the office, risks becoming a nightmare for small and medium-sized businesses.
For now, the Westpac decision, coupled with the Fair Work Commission looking into clerical rights in relation to white-collar work, is limited to that part of the workforce. But who knows going forward?
There's a state-level accelerant to think about here too. Victoria has announced plans to legislate a right to work from home at least 2 days a week where the job can reasonably be done remotely, with consultation towards laws slated for next year. It will apply to both the public and the private sector. That's a political play with national consequences, because once one jurisdiction normalises a right, the status quo elsewhere can look archaic, forcing wider changes. But employees need to be wary of unintended consequences that can come from decisions that appear in their favour. That includes the impact this decision could have on new parents. Some employers, spooked by decisions like this, could tighten other return-to-work flexibility options to avoid setting precedents they subsequently can't get out of. Another consequence will be more claims getting lodged with the Fair Work Commission. Once workers see successful precedents, some will test their own cases, and when the evidence is strong, they'll win.
That is how norms change, one policy decision at a time. What remains to be seen is whether that actually can be reversed if there's a sentiment to move away from it, potentially being pushed by employers.
The Westpac decision lifts the standard for every return to office policy in the country. The looming Clerks Award clause might embed that standard, and Victoria is trying to legislate the cultural change. We'll soon find out if the Westpac case turns this issue into a political football, as the major parties react to its implications, and what they might do about it if they worry about what they see.